Welcome to Out of the Box Radio with me, your host, Christine Glasdale. Out of the Box Radio is a weekly podcast of audible ear candy dedicated to bringing a fresh perspective on this thing that we call life. And each and every week, we're going to be diving into the topics that matter most with lively conversations on issues such as health, wellness, and transformational healing, all with the goal of creating a better world and becoming a happier human being. I will be your tour guide for this epic adventure, and each and every week we're going to be embarking on a journey with the ultimate goal being transformation to our highest potential. And now, let's get out of the box. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an incredible program. I'm so really happy that you tuned in. I am very excited about my guest this hour and extremely excited about the products that Kubby has put together at the company called Medicinal Foods. Kubby is the founder and CEO of Medicinal Foods, and I just happened to bump into him at the Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo, and I looked and saw what he had at the Conscious Life Expo and was absolutely blown away. Made sure that I stocked up on everything and have been drinking these wonderful potions and powders since I met him, and I'm so happy that we're going to be bringing that to you, our wonderful listeners. Welcome, Kubby, founder and CEO of Medicinal Foods. Welcome.
Thanks, Christine. It's so good to be here.
Well, I am absolutely elated because the timing couldn't be better. We have met, I think, in this beautiful circumstance. I think there's a reason why we bumped into each other. Medicinal Foods. Let's first of all tell our listeners where Medicinal Foods, where you're based out of, and sort of your mission in life.
Sure thing. I do feel like it was supposed to be, and it was really nice bumping into you at the Conscious Life Expo. I am back here in Hawaii.
Aloha.
Big island, aloha. And looking out at hundreds of durian, longan, lychee, mangosteen, all these tropical fruit trees we grow on the land here. We're off-grid, so everything's on solar. And I've been running this business. I launched at farmers markets here about 7 years ago. And the whole reason I got into it is because I was suffering from asthma, lung infections, candida. I had double pneumonia when I was 6 years old. So I think
double pneumonia. Double.
Double. I was like the boy in the bubble.
Right, the boy in the bubble. Right.
I was in the oxygen tent, and anyway, they probably gave me so much antibiotics that it wiped out that first line of defense, and I've had to recover my health since. I remember pulling the Yoga of Herbs book off my dad's bookshelf, boiling up ginger to try to dry up all the mucus in my lungs, just kind of out of desperation, figuring out what plant allies I could work with to heal. And I gradually came into balance. And now, after being so sick with asthma and not being able to breathe, now I free dive here in Hawaii to over 100 feet and spearfish, and it just kind of created a product line that worked for me, and it happens to not only work for a lot of people, but we figured out a way to make healthy taste good, so that helps as well.
Hallelujah! That is one of my big things, because there are quite a few. There's a few products out there that foods, superfoods, and nutritional foods that they look really good on the outside, and even the pictures really look really good. And you look at the ingredients, you're like, oh, that's pretty solid. Okay, I can do that. And then you taste it, and you're like, I licked a lawnmower bag, or it tastes like dirt. And you know what? If it tastes like dirt or a lawnmower bag, I'm not going to consume it. I don't care how good it is. But with this, what beautiful thing about Medicinal Foods, I can actually drink them and enjoy them. And I am so excited to offer our listeners some of these. And one of the descriptions of this line of products that you have is adaptogenic superfoods. Now, can you explain to our listeners a little bit, first of all, what a superfood is, but second of all, what is an adaptogenic superfood? That's important for people, I think.
Well, I studied Amazonian, Ayurvedic, Chinese herbal wisdom, everything to try to just figure out like what the heck can I do to be healthy and come into balance. And I ended up working with especially the Chinese herbs, the adaptogens that come from the Chinese herbal, tonic herbal lineage for thousands of years. I mean, take reishi mushroom. It's probably the most studied herb there is. It's an incredible adaptogen. So it adapts. It helps your body deal with stress. And stress is the monster. It's the hardest thing that the biggest challenge I think most people face today is stress. So it can also modulate with your immune system, bring it up or bring it down, depending on what your body needs. That's the intelligence of these herbs, really from the sun, passed through this plant wisdom, passed on to our bodies. And our bodies know what to do with this stuff. So tasting good kind of just goes with the territory. I mean, I all my stuff, my daughter eats the reishi mushroom out of the bag. She eats our green drink that's like a green drink that actually tastes good. She just eats it out of the bag. And so my daughter grew up eating these adaptogenic superfoods. We call them the ancient future of food. And, we started with the chocolate, where I think that speaks to the universal mind of what is something that's tasty. But most of the time people are chasing the sugar. And so we put these adaptogenic herbs, medicinal mushrooms, and some of these other herbs that traditional cacao shamans would go village to village, get these herbs and mix it into chocolate because it's such a great delivery system.
And there's a difference in chocolate. Boy, is there a difference. And we're going to get into that because one of the items is a yummy. Now, for the show, I brought in my separate, all these bags of the product, the Living Greens pouch. We have the coffee break pouch. We have the cacao elixir pouch. And the other item we have is the Lover's Original Shaman Blend Raw Dark Chocolate Bar. Now, everything else I still have a little bit left in, but I need to tell you that it took me I didn't do it all at one sitting, okay, Sky, but I did, the chocolate bar is gone. Like I took little piece by piece. It is so amazing. We're going to get into that because it is one of the most delicious. And I know what I love about it, it's that it's extremely nutritious. It has the superfoods, the medicinal mushrooms, the tonic herbs, but it is one of the best pieces of chocolate I've ever tasted, and that is saying a lot because I've been around. So kudos to you on the Shaman's Blend Raw Dark Chocolate. We'll get into that in a second. One thing I wanted to ask you too, because you've been doing this for quite some time, diets are really right now being inundated with a lot of really nasty stuff, right? The GMOs, the pesticides, the herbicides, the hybridization of most of our food. And then, so the nutritional content of our food is diminishing. And we are, as a culture, many of us, although maybe not there where you're at there in Hawaii, but we've become sort of a society, a quite obese society. What are some things that you've noticed as well from the difference from what people are eating, the standard American diet, the SAD diet, versus what you are promoting there with medicinal foods?
It took me a while of cycling in eating bad food, the standard American diet, and being really sick because I was more sensitive to what these foods were doing to me. Until I realized, my God, what I'm putting into my body, into my body temple, is literally manifesting itself whereas a lot of people would get sick for a day or two, I would get sick for a week or a month. Mm-hmm. And so I really had to pay attention to it. And I guess had to take one for the tribe, so to speak. And, the talk I did at Conscious Life Expo was on invincible immunity and everlasting energy. And that's the culmination of what I learned on my journey from illness to wellness. And what I realize is that, look, at this point, if you're not eating organic, if you're not paying now, the excuse is for a lot of people, it costs so much. Well, if you don't pay now, you will be paying later, because we're talking about, like, if you're not sure of the source, like it being wild or definitely organic, then you're guaranteed you're eating pesticides and glyphosate. And our cell, our membrane of our gut membrane is microns thick, way thinner than a human hair. So you put this stuff in there. I just did an interview with Dr. John Douillard on Eat Wheat, and he said, it's not the wheat. Of course, some people are celiac, we understand, but it's not the wheat. It's the pesticides. It's the preservatives. The preservatives are there in the food to preserve the food, not you.
And the hybridization, and the hybridization as well. But you're right. It's the pesticides, because if you put
that's the biggest thing. Yeah. It really messes up people in ways we still are trying to unravel. So I think that's the greatest thing that we can do is eat whole foods. It comes back to very simple things. I mean, eating whole foods like we've eaten for millions of years. We actually ate wheat for a very long time and didn't have a problem. When I go to Peru and Ecuador and other countries, France, I eat so much wheat and cheese, and my nose is less stuffed up than it is out here in Hawaii. Not eating that stuff. So, and we have our fair share of like GMOs and stuff. Actually, Hawaii is the biggest exporter of GMOs, if you can believe it.
Is that through the pineapple and things like that, or?
Well, the biggest exporter of GMO seeds. And one of the biggest things is the papaya fields. You go around and you see papaya everywhere, and it's GMO papaya. I took a course at the University of Hilo, and I said, I'm open to it in tropical fruit tree production. I said, look, what is in this papaya? Potato genes. Okay, I'll eat potatoes. I'll eat,
wow.
I'll eat papaya. And I said, what else? And I actually had to dig. They were trying to get us to memorize these great GMO, saints that they all worshipped. And finally, I got out of the professor. It's the lip cell of genes of some deep sea creature is part of the genome that they put into papaya.
Well, that Lord knows what that's going to do, right? Oh my gosh. So there's all those things that we have to deal with. What I love about what you've done is that you've made it easy for us, because we have kids. We have insane schedules. We're in traffic here, at least on the mainland, okay? And in cities. We don't have the time, really. We don't have that much time to eat super well. We also don't have that much time to prepare, to go out, to do the shopping, to do the cleaning of it, prepare it, then clean up afterward and all that stuff. And this is what I love. Anything to me that is easy, if it's easy for me to consume, if it's extremely healthy for me, and if it's easy for me to consume, and it's tasty and I want to consume it, then that's the win-win-win situation, right? That's the trifecta. That means that I'm going to be able to take it. It's going to be fast. And I know that if I don't have time to sit there and have an extremely wonderful, wholesome, whole food, organic meal, that I have these products that you've put together to fall back on. And I'm like I said, I'm so appreciative of the work that you do there and everybody that's there at Medicinal Foods. So let's go through, because I want our listeners to know what they're going to get. Let's first go with the first thing that led me to you, Skye. Okay, I love coffee. I'm a coffee freak. I have gone from regular coffee to organic coffee because a naturopathic physician told me a few years ago the most highly sprayed crop, pesticides sprayed crop is coffee. It's coffee and grapes for wine, right? So wine and coffee are the most heavily sprayed crops. And then when you add hot water to your coffee, right, to the grounds, after you ground them up, so you're stimulating all that, those toxins, then you're pouring the hot water. It's agitating it even more. And we drink coffee. Many people will go to a famous barista place and purchase coffee, and they love it, and it tastes good, yes, but it's also loaded with these pesticides. So you have something called Coffee Break, and this is energizing coffee substitute. This comes in a package. It's a pouch, about 6 ounces. I forget how many servings it is. Would you be about 28, almost 30 servings? So it's quite a bit. The most amazing thing about this, Sky, is that it tastes so delicious. And I've tried coffee alternatives before. They taste like licking the bottom of a mushroom. It tastes like just, ugh, I hated it. I've hated every one of them. And you, my friend, have come up with a coffee alternative, a substitute for coffee that is absolutely amazing and delicious. Tell our listeners about Coffee Break.
Well, I love I've always liked the taste and the smell of coffee. And,
me too.
Coffee, look, maybe it works for some people, but for me, I just feel really kind of tweaked out later in the day, especially the next day. I really notice it. And so it doesn't work for me. And I made it like all these products. I made them for myself. That's why I definitely didn't do it for the money. They're such high quality products that we don't make that much on it, but they change people's lives. So that's why I do it. And this stuff is made from, it's an ancient recipe of extracts of chicory, dandelion, barley, rye, and beet. And I mean, it has like this kind of bitter coffee-like taste because it's roasted. It's also roasted extracts, so that barley and rye and there's zero gluten in there. It's totally gluten-free. But we also add the chaga mushroom, which is the Siberian. They call it the diamond in the forest or the king of mushrooms.
It is an exquisite mushroom, and it is prized for its health benefits.
It has the superoxide dismutase antioxidant. It's literally the highest antioxidant food there is.
Wow.
Besides raw chocolate, I would say.
Right.
And it also has the reishi mushroom that builds the qi, the jing, and the shen, the 3 treasures of the Chinese herbal trifecta, as you said, in Chinese herbal wisdom. So, and then we put some maca in there for a natural boost. The maca is adaptogenic. It is great for balancing hormones, and it's naturally energizing and aphrodisiac. But, these aren't things that are going to keep you up at night. So I can enjoy a nice cup of coffee break at night, and it's not going to jack me up, and I'll easily be able to fall asleep.
And you have, so the chaga mushroom in this coffee break, we know that in addition to being amazing for our immune system and digestion, it also helps with regulating the blood sugar and with they call it also a beauty mushroom. So it's been touted for healthier hair, skin, eyes, all of that. The reishi mushroom, because this is one of those adaptogenic portions that are in the coffee break. This is also really good because you were talking about also the importance of qi. This is really good for our liver function, right? Which our livers, our poor little livers, it's the filter. It's kind of like if you have a car and that's your filter, that's your oil filter, right? And that's what everything gets processed through. Your liver is trying to do a really, really good job. So this is in support of that as well, correct? Yeah,
the reishi is so good for the liver and helping gently cleanse the liver and support it, as well as, mainly like this stress. It's a soothing anti-stress mushroom. So it's just the perfect thing to put in what would be a stimulant, but we also ultimately need to heal our adrenals and our kidneys, and so it can help with that from an anti-stress standpoint.
And I'll be blunt. I love it because it tastes damn good, Sky. It tastes like coffee, but it tastes like a really delicious, good coffee. And the fact that it's extremely healthy for you, the fact that it's really, really good for you. And now I've had this hot. I usually have it hot because that's how I do my coffee. But you can also have this cold, for if you'd like to have iced coffee type thing, you can have this as well, right?
I love this stuff. I drink it in the morning, in the evening, but you can also mix it, you can blend it up with ice and make an ice cream, like a coffee ice cream too, with ice and a little bit of honey. So it's it's pretty adaptable like that.
Now, so that's one of the items. That's one of the pouches here. The this size too is about 6 ounces. Okay, so we talked about the coffee break. We talked about this amazing, delicious coffee substitute, which is the reason why all the alarm bells went off when I was talking to you, Sky. But what I like to do with the coffee break, and we're going to get into this next package. This is what I like to do is I mix a little bit of this with my coffee break. This is the Cacao Elixir, and this is a chocolate superfood blend. Now, this is not just to be considered as just, oh, this is just like chocolate you mix in with a coffee. You just throw that in. This is a very different kind of chocolate, is it not? This is the Cacao Elixir. This by itself, and I didn't realize this, the Cacao Elixir by itself is a superfood. You could just mix this with water or a nut milk or something like that and just have this on its own, correct?
Yeah, all the chocolate products we have contain the Shaman's Blend. And the Shaman's Blend is Maca, Mucuna, Ashwaganda, Chlorella, Spirulina. It's this kind of blend that came through about 10 years ago that has just, stood the test of time. That what's in it is chocolate by itself. I mean, I could go on for hours about it because of its health benefits. But I even wrote a book about it, the raw chocolate diet, to help make cleansing fun. And that's so the thing about chocolate is you've heard that like dark chocolate can be healthy because it has antioxidants, but people don't realize that chocolate contains the chromium, magnesium, and zinc, the 3 nutrients that Americans are deficient in. So it's got the nutrients. It's got over 600 chemical constituents, though. One of them is phenylethylamine, PEA, which is the love chemical, and anandamide, which is the bliss chemical, which goes along the same, attaches to the same receptor sites as CBD in our inner endocannabinoid system. So that means basically if they make CBD illegal, we're all illegal because we produce the stuff.
Right.
But the point is that it actually, in the cacao is a MAO inhibitor, monoamine oxidase inhibitor. So it inhibits the breakdown of the tryptamines. It allows your neurotransmitters to grow. And when we combine that with mucuna, which is the anti-stimulant, the ancient cacao shamans always balanced their preparations, and they'd put mucuna, which is the velvet bean, in there with the cacao to help balance it as an anti-stimulant. And the mucuna is an MAOI as well, and so is the ashwaganda, which is like Indian ginseng. So those 3 together create this ability for your neurotransmitters to grow up to 1,000-fold in your brain. And people, like as you've experienced, you get this mood-enhancing boost from it, which people have said, we're not making medical claims, but people have said they've gotten off of their antidepressants because it makes them feel so happy. And we're just talking about natural plant-based allies that can, help lift our mood, and also cacao in itself is a appetite suppressant. So I kind of put together this blend to serve as a potential meal replacement because it also has the hemp protein in there. So if you replace a meal a day with anyone can replace a meal a day with a chocolate superfood smoothie, then you are able to decrease the amount of roughage that you're putting in your body, decrease the load, and you start having a gentle cleansing situation where you just have better bowel movements, you have less food in your body. The hardest thing our body has to do is digest food. So if you have one of your meals liquid like that's packed full of all these nutrients, we even do a little trick where we blend it with chia seeds, where it even acts as a bigger colon cleanser and can help pull out 2-3 pounds of undigested materials sitting around in your colon that we don't need hanging around.
And it tastes delicious.
Oh yeah.
So this is what then, because people don't really, because we've really bastardized chocolate in this culture. There are chocolate companies candy companies, things like that have put all kinds of things inside chocolate, and, sugar and corn syrup and wax and oh gosh, it's scary what they've done. But we've also become we've kind of when you're a kid, when there's a celebration or something, you get candy, right? You get chocolate. Halloween, you get chocolate. Valentine's Day, you get chocolate. But that's not the chocolate that we should be really consuming because it's loaded with such stuff in it that, is really harmful for us. The beautiful thing about this is this tastes amazing. It's actually really, really good for you. It will help with your mood. It does enhance your mood. It's a plant protein. It's heavy in the nutrients. And as you said, it can also curb your appetite. So that could help you lose, if you want a weight loss thing. Can you imagine saying, yes, I'm going to have my cacao elixir, this beautiful, delicious chocolate drink. And it's not only helping me lose weight, it's making me feel better. My mood is increased. And it can be a way for you to get rid of that unwanted, colon matter with that stuff that's binding you up as well. And from my understanding too, this particular cacao elixir, this mix has, what is it? Because it's raw, right? It's the raw cacao mix. So it has what? Like
when you look at a chart of the ORAC value, the antioxidant value
antioxidant value,
raw cacao, which really we're talking about unroasted cacao.
Yeah.
When you heat stuff up and when you roast it like that, you destroy some of its properties.
Right.
I mean, PEA, phenylethylamine, when that's in blue-green algae, you got to keep that stuff in the freezer because as soon as it hits room temperature, it's no longer functional. So that's why in chocolate, the PEA, it's actually stored in the fat of like one of our chocolate bars, and that's why it's a good source of PEA. But the raw cacao is off the charts with its antioxidant content. And out here in Hawaii, I grow chocolate. Cacao grows on trees, and it was said to have sprung up out of the earth when the earth is in need of healing, according to ancient, Maya and Aztec. So if you think about it, the cacao, it also has nitric oxide. It's really high in nitric oxide, which expands the blood vessels up to 30%. So we use it before, like we say, use the Tao of cacao to enhance the dance. It gets you going. Whatever you love to do in life, it can help get you up and get you going. Exactly.
So this is the cacao elixir. So we talked about the coffee break. It's an energizing coffee substitute. It's really a superfood, but you can, instead of having your regular coffee, or you can blend it. You can also do like half and half, do your regular coffee, but please make sure if you have coffee that it's organic. But make sure that if you are going to blend your anything with your coffee that you have, make sure that it's organic so it's not sprayed with the pesticides. And you know what? One thing that we didn't get into, and I think that people need to know a little bit, one of the ingredients in the cacao elixir, and it's not in the coffee break, but it's in the cacao elixir. You mentioned ashwagandha, and I've heard some, like, everybody's like, oh my gosh, ashwagandha is a great thing. What exactly is ashwagandha?
Well, ashwagandha is another one of those adaptogenic herbs, and it's basically what they call the Indian ginseng. When you look again at the cortisol reaction that comes from stress, it helps reduce cortisol. It also can lower the blood sugar. So I had a woman come to me at the Conscious Life Expo when she got on these products. She came back. She's like, my God, my blood sugar is stable, which was a big problem for her. And so, it can help with that as well. It's just like one of those premier Ayurvedic herbs that is also, great for the body. It's great for the brain.
Great for the mind. Yeah.
I just put it in there because it's one of my favorite herbs.
And it goes so well with the cacao. Okay. So
interestingly, one more point. It's supposed to help with insomnia, which cacao is a stimulant. It'll take 50 cups of coffee to equal 50 cups of cacao elixir to equal the amount of caffeine that's in 1 cup of coffee, because what the stimulant that cacao has is theobromine, which literally translates to food of the gods. So
I like that.
It doesn't suck. And but I will tell you, people are mixing the coffee break in with their actual real coffee, and to help transition. And a lot of people have gotten off of their real coffee. And the main thing is that it's non-acidic and non-addictive. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're being an alchemist like me and mixing up your coffee break with your cacao elixir, or even just your coffee. So
and then now, which was something that I've been I'm drinking this. I've been drinking this all day. I'm really excited about this one. The Living Greens. This pouch has, let's see, you have 4 grasses, 10 veggies. It's fermented, and it tastes absolutely amazing. This stuff is so cool. I remember when I said, I asked you, it's all organic too. When I asked you, I said, should I mix it with like a rice milk or an almond milk or something? And you're like, no, you can just mix it with just regular water. And I'm like, really? No. And I tasted it, and it tastes great. So that again makes me really, really happy. Let's talk about Living Greens. I do not present anything on any show that I've ever done. I never talk about it or promote it unless I, number one, have tried it, love it, and believe in it wholeheartedly, and think that it will enhance the lives of many people. That's why I want to get it out there. That's the only reason.
I wanted to get out a green drink that actually tasted good, not only for myself, but for my family. And my daughter eats this stuff out of the bag. Okay. It's like, if she doesn't eat her greens or doesn't eat her salad or something, she'll just eat some scoops of this, and it blows me away. But, the price on being able to get your kids to eat a green, to get greens into our kids' diet, I mean, it really is priceless, let alone for us, because this stuff, it kind of has like a, I don't know, would you say like a apple pie kind of taste to it?
Yeah, there's a little bit. I taste like a little hint of cinnamon. There's a little berry.
Yeah. We put some.
There's a little
apple
berry
extract, and it's not those natural flavors that you have no idea what it is. It's literally cinnamon and apple extract.
So,
but with the other things that are in there, we even put. So we get all these veggies from local farms, and we ferment it in these stainless steel vats, because by fermenting it, it breaks it down, and you've got all those nutrients that are just super bioavailable. It nourishes you right at your core. And we add things like milk thistle, which is really supportive for the liver, and herbs like rosemary and licorice. And it's just, it's something that I've seen it time and time again. People are like, oh my God, a green drink. And they brace themselves. Like you were saying, they're about to hold their nose, and they drink, and they're like, oh my God, this tastes good. You can just put a scoop in water, mix it up. If you want to get fancy, you can add some ice. If you want to get really fancy, you can put a little twist of lemon. But that's it. It makes a nice little cocktail, and people are flipping out about this stuff. People have even lived on the Living Greens because it provides so much nutrients.
It is packed with nutrients. So it's 100% USDA certified organic, made with 10 fermented vegetables, 4 fermented grasses. It contains living probiotics, which we all know is extremely important to make our little bugs in our bodies happy. It has herbal botanicals. It's vegan, non-GMO, sugar-free, gluten-free.
It definitely, one thing we didn't mention is the enzymes in there. And the enzymes are so potent that if you take a bowl of oatmeal and you've got some I'm talking like a thick bowl, fork stand up kind of chunky bowl of oatmeal, and you put it comes with a little scooper, and you put a scoop on your bowl of oatmeal and stir it in. About 30 seconds to a minute later, it's going to be runny like liquid, because those enzymes that are in the Living Greens has just broken it down for you. Oftentimes people, the reason you're supposed to chew your food so well, like Hippocrates said, I believe, drink your chew your drink and drink your food. And you want to chew to the point where you're almost drinking your food, because it's the hardest thing our body has to do is digest food. And if you're not food combining correctly and mixing your starches with vegetables, or your green leafy vegetables, or your protein with green leafy vegetables, but not starches and proteins together, then you end up having dysbiosis, indigestion, and you can't digest your starches until you actually get past your stomach, where you digest proteins, and then to your intestines. So in the freebies, I think we're going to be giving your listeners, I have a whole food combining chart that they can pay attention to. And, I don't like to get dogmatic about anything, but we do these things, these healthy concepts, so that we can cheat, or like what the Dalai Lama says, learn the rules so you can learn how to break them properly.
Exactly. I want to kind of go through what we've had so far. The Living Greens pouch, that is about 24 servings in that, the Living Greens pouch. Coffee Break, and this is the energizing coffee substitute. Again, that's 28 servings. And then we have the Cacao Elixir that we were talking about as well. That is also 28 serving. Get the Lover's Bar, the original Shaman's Blend. This is the raw dark chocolate. It is certified organic, raw, vegan. It's a superfood, tonic, aphrodisiac. Medicinal mushrooms are included in this, and maca as well. And this is, like I said when I was talking earlier, it is one of the best chocolate bars I have ever had. And you want to take a look at this as almost like a supplement, like almost like a, not a candy. It's a food. And like I did is I just broke off a little bit, and I would have one little square, Sky. I would have a little square, and it was so satisfying, and it was so rich and so delicious. I was like, boom, I'm done. I'm going to wait.
So you did it right.
I savored it.
You can honor the chocolatier and the chocolate by breaking off a square and letting it dissolve on your palate. And traditionally, it's you actually warm up the chocolate before you put it in your mouth. Don't put this chocolate in the refrigerator.
Don't you dare.
But I can tell you that you're right. A lot of chocolate is hybridized. It's the CN51 hybrid, and it's very susceptible to the different diseases. And so this chocolate is heirloom Criollo cacao, meaning local cacao from Ecuador. And it is definitely the best chocolate I and many people have ever experienced. It comes from these giant grandma ancient cacao trees, not these little bushes. And I've been there and seen where it's grown, and I think that's why people really trust medicinal foods and this brand, is because we go to the source and we get the very best stuff. And just energetically, I think people feel the authenticity of what this stuff really is. It's hard to get this stuff out at the prices we do, and actually, so
and it's super high quality, and that's why I'm very proud to. Even just in this bar, you have the Shaman's Blend, right? In this chocolate bar, so you have the heirloom Criollo cacao nibs, but then the Shaman's Blend is mixed in with this chocolate. So you have the lucuma, the maca, the hemp protein, the mucuna, the ashwaganda, chlorella, spirulina, all of that is included. And then the cordyceps and the reishi mushroom. And there's a Hawaiian sea salt in there. And again, everything is organic. It is a exquisite, delicious chocolate food, raw dark chocolate food, and it is, like I said, it's more of a health food but when you eat it, you won't know it. You'll just go, oh my God, that's the best chocolate I've ever had.
Well, then we stone grind it for 3 days. So
geez,
so
Sky.
Fine that it just
And you will be absolutely blown away by how delicious they taste and how amazing you feel after you consume them. But also, Sky Kubby, the founder and CEO of Medicinal Foods, there's several digital downloads, and I love these, Sky. Let's go over some of the free added bonuses that our listeners are going to get. Let's talk about some of the stuff they've got. What you got here?
Yeah, well, for one, just to go along with the product you have, there is the Cacao Cleanse, and that's going to show you how you can use the chia seed to work with the cacao elixir. You just go to your health food store, buy a bag of chia seeds, and it's going to give you some recipes and kind of a protocol to get on this replacing a meal a day with this either a chocolate chia pudding or a cacao elixir, and anyone will feel healthier and lighter after pulling out a lot of that undigested material in your colon with this natural colon cleanser. And that's the Cacao Cleanse. In there is also some healthy food combining tips and charts and some good digestive guidelines. And then there's the cavity healing protocol, which I was just, after a $1,600 dentist bill, I was tired of the drilling and the filling and the billing. And I started studying Weston Price, this dentist who went all over the world studying indigenous cultures and found out what the ones that had the strongest, best teeth, what they were doing. And he found that it had to do with their diet. And so I did this cavity healing protocol for myself again, and it seems to work because when I went back, I got the x-rays and all my cavities had refilled. It includes, refurbished my enamel. Little cavity holes had actually resurfaced the enamel. Right. And this is something where, especially including the X factor, this special thing that Weston Price calls the X factor, was responsible for healing 42 cavities in this one little girl, according to the research. So you get the cavity healing protocol. It talks about different foods and different ways to, in fact, the theobromine in cacao, studies have shown that it expands the tiny apatite crystals that are in our teeth up to, it expands them and actually protects them 4 times more powerfully than fluoride. So that's an interesting study.
Let's not get started on fluoride because you know where I'll go on that. But yeah, okay.
Well, I guess that's a good segue into the pineal awakening protocol.
Yes,
it's our pineal gland is a pine cone shaped gland in the middle of our brain that is piezoelectric. It's literally light emitting, and in ancient times it was called the seat of the soul by Descartes, and it is supposed to be the center for all of our ability to visualize, and you know how powerful our imagination is.
Yeah.
And what happens is that it gets atrophied and calcified, especially because of the fluoride that is in a lot of the municipal water systems. So by decalcifying the pineal gland, it helps to wake it up, and that's what the pineal awakening is all about. Some of the things that are so powerful that work on decalcifying it are some of the medicinal foods we actually. So that's a pineal awakening protocol. And you also get 9 biohacks to feeling like $1 million.
I love that title. So that's included as well. You get learn how to heal cavities naturally, experience the raw chocolate diet cleanse, the pineal gland protocol as well, and learn 9 biohacks for feeling like $1 million, which I know are going to be amazing for our listeners. The food of the gods, as Sky had mentioned earlier, the food of the gods. If you would like some food of the gods, if you want to check out the entire line of medicinal food products, you can go to the bit.ly link that I have, and it'll be available with the show in the text of the show. But if you wanted to go there directly, it's bit.ly/superfood for life. That's all one word. It's bit.ly/superfood for life. Again, I will have the link in the YouTube video and any accompanying information for this podcast show. So you can click on it and you can check out all of the wonderful products that Medicinal Foods has. And also you'll have access to those free downloads that my guest, Sky Kubby, has been talking about. And I want to just really quickly, because we're running kind of close on time, I want to play just a little clip. This is someone, because we can talk about how great the stuff is all day long, but there's actually, you have so many testimonials, so many people who are love the foods that you produce. Let's talk about this. Is it Kia Miller? Is that her name? Kia Miller?
Kia Miller is a Kundalini yoga practitioner that travels all over the world doing her teacher trainings, and she's pretty amazing. She's based in the LA area.
Okay, let's listen to her. She absolutely loves the living greens as well, and I'm just going to take a sip. While we listen to Kia Miller, I'm going to take another big sip of my living greens juice, which I have here in studio. But let's listen to Kia Miller.
You know, every now and again, something comes across your path in life that adds, that really gives you the boost that you need. So I just had an experience with this product in the last 6 months where I've been dosing pretty highly on it, 3 scoops 3 times a day, and my energy has just flourished. I feel really strong, and I feel like I have the stamina that I haven't had for a long time. So I was just telling Sky how much I'm enjoying his product. It's giving me like a new lease on life.
Which is amazing because you're just always traveling, you've got to be on.
Yeah.
And so you're feeling more nourishment in your core.
Yeah.
And like maybe something was a little off, sometimes you get a little tired, now you're just sailing. Right?
I'm just sailing. It's I feel like I was lacking clearly some key minerals or something, and that this is giving me what I was lacking.
Well, you look amazing, and your energy is incredible. And it is incredible once we can give our bodies everything it needs. You give a plant everything it needs, and it just becomes beautiful and flourishes. So you also were expressing this grounding kind of experience.
Yeah, it's become that for me as well. So when I need grounding, which I'm on the road traveling a lot, I do need to ground. When I have this and just take a moment, it's got that effect.
Well,
so
we start floating away, and to have, I eat fruits in the morning and kind of have a lighter fare, and then as we go need to ground out later in the day, it's nice to have something you can just put in, mix in water.
Yeah. And what I find also is when I can't get to the meal that I want to get to, and I don't want to eat something that won't serve, if I have this at that moment, it gives me the stamina to keep going.
Okay.
So, highly recommended. It's the good plane ride food.
Beautiful. Yeah, because you don't want to eat a bunch of food while you're traveling. It kind of binds up your digestive system. So, all right, everyone. Kia Miller, Living Greens. I'm Sky Kubby, Medicinal Foods. Aloha.
And that was Kia Miller talking about how much she loves the living greens. And if you saw the video, you'd see her. She's absolutely stunning, as is Sky Kubby, who has been my guest this hour.
I mean,
she does.
She's a big fan, and she does 3 scoops 3 times a day while she's jet setting all over the world. It's pretty amazing.
And you know what? That's really good. I didn't even think about that because I travel a lot, and that's always my issue when I'm traveling as far as food's concerned. You don't want to eat the airline food. You have to be very careful with what you eat because you're up, going up in a plane, you blow up like a, balloon. You do need to keep hydrated. So this is a wonderful way. And you just bring the pouch. You can just bring the powder and mix it with water get some good, decent water there and have your shaker bottle and you're good to go. And what I love too about this stuff too is that you don't even have to really shake it because you just pour it in and just mix it with a spoon. It's done. It's
all I take traveling. And it was. Imagine going to. I spoke on the Invincible Immunity and Everlasting Energy, so I can't show up at those things sick. So eating that stuff, it keeps me healthy as well. And it was great catching your panel out there at the Conscious Life Expo. I look forward to seeing you more in person, and it's really been great. being on the air with you.
Oh, we'll definitely, and I would love to have you back, and especially when you have more wonderful foods that you can bring to our listeners. I would love to have you back. So thank you so very much, Sky Kubby. For folks, if you're interested to also check out, you can go to the website. And again, if you want to check out all of the different products that Medicinal Foods has, you can simply click on the link that I have accompanying this podcast. It's the bit.ly link. It's bit.ly/superfood for life. Again, bit.ly/superfood for life. Again, that link will be accompanying this podcast. All of the information will be embedded in this podcast for you to click on and check out all the great goodies that they have. And you'll also have access to special downloads that Sky Kubby has put together just for you. Sky Kubby, I want to thank you so very much again for coming on board and for the amazing work that you do with Medicinal Foods. Thank you again so very much.
You're so welcome.
And I want to thank you, folks. I thank you so much for listening this week. Remember, you can share this program. This is available, of course, on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. But the best way to do it is from YouTube. You can share that video on your social media and in emails as well. And make sure that other people hear this important program. Until next week, I want to remind you, as always, to think outside of the box. Bye for now.